HIPPE uses the most up-to-date information on budgeting concepts, financial education, and credit information. We are educated professionals that bring the very best practices from experts in their fields for free as community charity.
HIPE is not responsible or otherwise liable for any advice, guidance, or instruction that creates a negative outcome. Recommendations accepted by individuals are at the control and execution of those individuals, including all outcomes therein.
Aloha, and welcome to HIPPE's Financial 101 Training and Budgeting Workshop.
I'm Joni.
And I'm Rick.
Let's get started.
In today's class, we will be covering income and its capabilities. We're going to break down two categories. First category being type, which is active, passive, and portfolio. Portfolio we're going to dive into in another class. We're just going to touch on that today. For the methods, we're going to break down salary, wage, part-time, seasonal, and side hustle.
What I want you to think about is how sustainable is my income right now?
You know, if you ask me, honestly, Joni, I think sustainable income depends on reliability, something I can make sure my kids have food in their belly, a roof over their head, just like you always tell me. And we can count on this money to pay the bills, keep the lights on. I'm using everything Joni always mentions in our classes. What else, Joni?
I think with sustainable income is to make sure that you can cover all your expenses. Simply put, income coming in and to cover your expenses.
Okay, let's get into active income.
The first type of income is active. So when people think about active income, it's always earned income. You trade time for money. Rick, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so trading time for money. My thoughts are on this is I want to make sure that I give as much possible so I can get as much back. I'm only going to get back as much as I'm giving. Now, as you develop trades, licenses, anything where you need to be educated, we can get a little bit more out of that income because now we're a bit smarter or we're a bit stronger, whatever it is that you're going to earn that extra income from.
Right. So there's salary incomes. Basically, salary incomes is you're going to get a certain amount of money for a certain amount of hours that you put in, regardless of time. So when I think about salary income, when I was in a salary position, I would put in sometimes 55 to 60 hours and I was getting the same amount of pay. But the pros and the perks of that was I had benefits, which were medical, dental benefits. And that's what was great for me at that time for a salary position.
Now, this is where you can ask yourself, how reliable is salary to you? Is that something you want to do? I know many people, we know many people that actually choose to work a full-time wage because they feel that's how they earn and they feel like they're worth what they earn every single hour. For salary, what else do we have for cons? Well, if you got to do something, now you're forced to do it and you're going to receive the same amount of pay, regardless of when you can get it done. So I'll throw another pro at you. If you're really good at what you do, you can speed up your work and get paid the same amount of money as somebody that takes twice as long. Guys, gals, this is open to interpretation of how you see yourself falling into these categories and how you digest your strengths and weaknesses for each one of these types. Let's get into that full-time wage, Joni.
All right. So the next one is full-time wages, where a person is paid an hourly rate for X amount of hours. A lot of people get paid that way. What are some of the pros for you when you think about that?
Well, my pros on full-time wage is you have a chance to maybe earn some overtime, right? So if you're restricted to only working a certain amount of hours per week, now you have the opportunity to make that overtime if the job offers it. There's other people that as soon as 4 p.m. hits, they're making overtime regardless. We are talking to somebody right now that's contemplating their career, and that's kind of the job they're in right now. So we have several different categories out there of full-time wage, and actually some full-time wages offer the same kind of benefits you might find in a salary income. So this is where we urge you folks, dive into and research those types of jobs you're trying to get into. You might have to actually interview those types of companies, right? Or at least start investigating into those companies to find out what are they giving you as a benefit to come in as a wage earner.
Right. So the next one is part-time wages. Typically depends on the company where you work 30 hours or less, could be 32 hours or less, but similar to full-time wages where you have to put in an hour, you get hourly rate, and that's how you're paid.
Now, the beauty of a part-time wage, Joni, is when we can get more income, probably doing the same job that we already do on the full-time job, just working for somebody else. How many nurses do we know that earn that different types of income, right? And they're still doing the same job. They're being a nurse. They just happen to be working in some other category to earn more money by doing the same thing they do every day, just for somebody else. So there's a lot of pros and cons. You might be very skillful in another area to earn money in that other skillful area while you're doing your day-to-day grind on the other job that's just dependable and trustworthy. You can go any direction with this, Joni.
Yeah, absolutely. So side hustles, that's one of the ones that are near and dear to my heart. We know so many people that do side hustles. Sometimes it starts off as a fun thing to do, Craigslist, selling items at garage sales, turning into a full-time gig for them, but they make extra money on the side. There's some other ideas, craft making, Etsy.com shows all these different types of crafts that people make and they sell. That's their side hustle. That's their side gig.
Now, when we talk about seasonal, Joni, we have to then decide how can we get more money based on what's happening around us, right? What's the one we always talk about? White Kelly Shopping Center during the
Christmas
season,
time,
Christmas time, right?
Thanksgiving weekend,
Now,
craziness.
can you mix that also with some side hustle? Can those be in the same category? Just depends on what it is you're selling. You might be one of those people that's making graduation type of things. Like I know somebody who makes types of bottles of, say, different types of drinks and whatnot, and they decorate them and they use them for different parties, college parties, graduation parties from high school. Obviously, hopefully, they're not drinking anything that they're not supposed to, but they're making these objects using their skills. It's also seasonal and a side hustle, just like our candy lay makers that we find all over the island. They make these things just so they can find a better way to make a dollar, do all this stuff on their extra hours after work, on the weekend, make as many as they possibly can, sling out.
All right. So the next type of income is passive income. When I think about passive income, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on passive income is you have to plant seeds today. And if you can plant these seeds, you can grow the money, then that will now allow you to work less later. And in some cases, not work at all. And there's many different categories of this.
Right. So there's multi-level marketing. I think most people are familiar with Amway Corporation and that multi-level marketing type of business. You're an entrepreneur and you have your own business there. Rental income properties, investments, those are some great ways to earn passive income. Disability, Social Security. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it depends, right? A lot of people who are on some state level disability only have it for a certain amount of time, or say workman's comp, anything like this where they're going to earn for a short term and in some cases longer term, right? When you look at other things like military disability, anybody like that, Veterans Administration, anything like that where they're going to earn some additional funds for their injuries, right? That's great, and that's not meant to pay you entirely. You still have to lean forward and make some additional money. Find other ways to plant seeds now. Social Security is that other version where it's meant to help offset you in the future. Now, yes, we know many people who can survive on Social Security alone, but the key word is survive. Do you want to survive? Or do you want to live? Joni, I want to live. I enjoy living my life. So it's time like now that you use passive income to plant these seeds for a future. I might work hard right now, but in the future, we're going to earn from that and allow ourselves to be in a better shape, whether it's parking money in a 401k or it's a solid job that provides a pension, right, Joni?
Absolutely. Yep. Retirement, those are some goals that we have with passive income that you can utilize. Here are some ideas for you guys for passive income. There's laundromats that you can have, vending machines. I knew somebody that owned vending machines and he ended up buying a BMW with all that little bit of money that he kept saving for a couple years. He bought himself a BMW.
Absolutely. So when you have the opportunity to put some money away and find other ways to have some trickle here or there goes your goal setting, right, Joni? You can goal set in that method and allow us to get a little bit better, maybe increase the quality of life that allows us just to live, not survive.
Correct.
Let's dive deep into this next category. This is where I like to describe to everybody where we want to be in the future, where we want to be now in order to get somewhere in the future. So we have to start with the inputs. Now, you'll hear me always say you have to concentrate on the inputs so you can focus on the outputs. Here we are on the screen. Now, we have to digest how we want to earn right now. Do we want full-time wage? Do we want salary? You have to describe to yourself, how strong is my salary income? How strong is my full-time wage income? Is it reliable? Is it sustainable? Now, these are just basic descriptions that you see on the screen, purely so we can identify where we are trying to mentally picture ourselves. Are there some people with side hustles that are actually doing very well, maybe even sustainable, maybe even good income? We know many people out there that do these types of things. The focus for you on this screen is to identify where you fall in. And is it something that's, say, in orange, where it's okay, it's good, it's doing its job? Maybe it's green, where it's the strongest thing you got going for you, and it can be in any of these categories. Or maybe you're already developing some type of passive income. Maybe you are lucky enough and fortunate enough to have a property and receive some rental income. Now, that's all seeds for future passive income as well. So we have to find out where you can start from and what you can grow in. So, Joni, what would you say on this screen here is important to a person who needs to place themselves somewhere in their life of goal setting and applying some inputs in their income?
Whether it's a full-time wage or salary, having that consistent income come in will stabilize you. When you have that extra time, you could consider a seasonal job. You can consider a side hustle. You can make a lot of money on side hustles. Can you give me one that you did before in the past?
I'll tell you what, I've done many side hustles. One I did and I actually had a profitable experience from was Uber, believe it or not. So there are things out there that you can actually earn from that seem relatively easy in a sense, and it's worthwhile. There's other people that have done security jobs on the side. I've done those myself in my military days in the past, where the same thing you're telling me that I do every day in the military, I can now do that for somebody else and earn the same amount of income of sort for that period of time that I'm actually working there. And if you did the math, pretty close to what I would earn if I was working the same amount of salary work that I was doing in other places. So as you see, we have to find out where you fall. So here's an example on the screen right now. And on this example, Joni, I want us to actually digest, and this is life stories that people have told us in the past. Let's start with, a USPS job. We have several friends that we know that are postal workers. And for them, it's very reliable, it's strong, they are happy with the income they're getting. So it's more than other things that some other people will commit to. What are some other ones, Joni?
Oh, geez. With the full-time jobs and the wages, there are so many, and you can do all sorts of things.
So the other one on the screen right there is DJ, right? We know some people that do DJing on the side, the graduation parties, the birthdays. Can somebody who does DJ work start earning some reliable income in some ways, or have it frequent in sustainability?
So I know somebody that does dog walking. Dog walking for them, it gives them exercise. They get paid to walk a dog. They're out and about. They get some vitamin D from the sun. That's extra side money for them that actually helps them pay off whatever that goal they want to pay off or save money for whatever.
Absolutely. There's many different ways to digest what you're seeing here. What we want you to take away from this slide is there are more than one way to earn income, and you have to also think about your happiness. So this is an entire life plan, right, Joni? I mean, we have to do things in life that sometimes we don't enjoy doing, but if we can find a way to actually enjoy it and be a part of something that's still going to earn money for us, then we're taking advantage in the best way possible of living instead of surviving. What I want everybody to take away from this is program yourself to go after more orange, then live in the red. Then when you achieve a level of orange where it's somewhere about something strong and stable, something to you that digests like, I can continue doing this for a while, start targeting that green. Find a way to where it is the most strongest sustainable income and it's providing you the best growth possible for your future financial wealth. It all has to start from wherever you are on this chart. It doesn't matter where anybody else is. It doesn't matter where you were a day ago. It matters where you want to go from here. So if you're using this material to educate yourself, take this moment, digest this information, find out how you right now can increase your inputs in order to maximize your future outputs. Now we're talking about being in an active state of income, developing your future passive, and then finally into portfolio. So, Joni, I will go ahead and touch on portfolio really quick. Investments in the future of some sort will have gains. And those gains, like we know, Joni, are all different categories. What do we always hear out there? Diversify your portfolio.
Right.
It's a real thing, right? That's going to be touched on in a different class, but that is how you get to the next level. First, you have to earn, like we're talking about. Then we have to save,
Correct.
and then we invest. That is all we have for today. So thank you very much for attending this class. We appreciate you watching our content. Please find us on Facebook or IG at hype.education, or
Here's our website address, www.hippe-education.org.
and please search for us on YouTube. We're out there. Simply search Hype Podcast. You'll see all of our content and hopefully be posted here on Olelo in the future. Okay, everybody, enjoy and go earn some money. Take care.
Aloha.